Imagine for a moment that everything you have ever wanted is already making its way to you, and all that is left is for you to begin living as if it is already yours, because this is what Neville Goddard meant when he spoke about assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled. He was not telling you to wait. He was not telling you to be patient in the way most people understand patience. He was telling you to live from the end, to act from a state of already having what you desire, because in the world of imagination, which is the only true reality, your desires are already fulfilled, your dreams are already complete, and your future self is already living that life. The question is, how do you bring that unseen reality into the physical world? How do you act as if your time is coming? How do you train your mind and emotions to walk in that state every single day, even when nothing around you looks like what you have imagined? It begins with awareness that you are the operant power, awareness that your assumptions are not passive thoughts floating around your head, but they are the very substance that shapes your world. If you assume something to be true, if you feel it is real, then your world must conform to that inner state. Because as Neville taught, consciousness is the only reality, and everything you experience is a reflection of what you accept as true within yourself. So if you want to act like your time is coming, you must first accept that your time is already written. It is already done in the unseen, and your only job is to stay in alignment with that truth. You must wake up each morning and step into that version of you who already has what they want. You must carry yourself with the calm confidence of someone who knows that life is working in their favor. You must let go of desperation and clinging and fear, because those are all signals that you do not really believe that your time is coming, and belief is everything. Belief is the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. When you truly believe that something is yours, you do not chase it, you do not stress about it, you do not doubt it. You simply walk in the direction of it, knowing that everything is unfolding perfectly in its season. This is what Neville meant when he said that you must live in the end. He did not mean to daydream for a few minutes and then go back to worrying. He meant to live and breathe and move and think as if you are already the person who has everything you have asked. For this is not pretending, it is not playing make-believe, it is shifting into the awareness that the unseen is more real than the seen, that what you imagine consistently and feel deeply is more powerful than your current circumstances. Because circumstances are temporary, they are effects, not causes. Your imagination is the cause, your assumptions are the roots that produce the fruits of your life. So act like your time is coming by choosing your thoughts deliberately, by deciding every moment to walk in faith and not in fear, by letting your inner conversations reflect the reality you want instead of the reality you do not want. If you want love, then speak to yourself like someone who is loved. If you want success, then think like someone who is successful. If you want health, then feel like someone who is already whole and thriving. Because the moment you do that, the world around you begins to shift, not because you forced it, but because you change your state, and the outer world always mirrors the inner world. It is a law, it cannot be broken. And this is why Neville emphasized the power of assumption above all else. He knew that the key to manifestation is not to force or beg or plead, but to assume, to feel, to claim within that what you want is already yours, and then to live from that place as often and as consistently as you can, even when it feels strange, even when doubt creeps in. You gently return to the feeling of your wish fulfilled. When you begin to understand that everything you desire is already alive within you, then you no longer look to the outside world for proof, because the proof is not outside. The proof is in the feeling, the knowing, the certainty that what you have imagined is as real as anything you can touch or see. This is the shift Neville Goddard spoke about when he taught that imagination creates reality. Because to most people, imagination is just fantasy. But to the one who understands the laws of consciousness, imagination is the seed of every physical event, every relationship, every opportunity. Everything you can call real began first in the unseen world. And this is why it is so important to stop waiting for things to happen before you allow yourself to feel good or to feel successful or to feel chosen. Your job is not to react to what is your job, is to create from within. And this creation begins by assuming that your time is not only coming, but it is guaranteed. Your time is inevitable. And because of that, you can walk confidently through life knowing that everything is being arranged behind the scenes for your good. You do not need to see the evidence right away. because you are living from the end. And when you live from the end, you're not disturbed by delays or setbacks or challenges, because you already know how the story ends, and the story ends with you winning the story, ends with you receiving what you have asked for the story, ends with you becoming the person you were always meant to be. This is why it is so powerful to act as if your time is coming. Because when you act from that place, you're declaring to the universe, and more importantly to yourself, that you trust, that you believe, that you know, and in that knowing, everything begins to change your energy, changes your presence, changes your decisions, you start to move differently, not because you're trying to convince anyone, but because you are no longer the same person you were before. You made that decision. You are now someone who lives in faith, not fear, in expectation, not hesitation, in confidence, not confusion. And the world around you responds to that change, because you are now aligned with a version of reality where your desires are already fulfilled. This is not just positive thinking. This is a fundamental shift in identity. And this identity shift is what brings the unseen into the seen. It is what brings the invisible into form. You must understand that your imagination is a creative act. Every time you imagine something and feel it as real, you are shaping your future. You are selecting a version of reality, and the more you dwell in that version, the more your outer world begins to reflect it. People, circumstances, and events will begin to move to match your inner state. And the key is persistence. You must persist in the assumption that your time is coming no matter what you see. Do not let the current reality deceive you. Do not let time trick you into doubting the process. Remember that time is just a tool of the 3D world, but in imagination, everything is now, everything is instant. And when you return to that place within you where it is already done, you collapse time, you bring the future into the present, and you begin to live as the person who already has it. You dress like that person, you speak like that person, you walk like that person, you make decisions like that person. And this is not to fool anyone. It is to align your state of being with the reality you desire, because the law is that you do not get what you want, you get who you are. So become the person who already has it, and the rest will follow. Become the version of you that already succeeded, and success will find you. Become the version of you that is already loved, and love will find you. Become the version of you that already lives in abundance, and abundance will be drawn to you. This is the truth Neville Goddard gave us, and it is the key to unlocking every desire you have ever held in your heart. To act as if your time is coming is to wake up every day with a decision that you will no longer entertain the version of yourself that doubts. You will no longer give energy to the version of yourself that waits and worries. You will no longer accept the idea that your desires are far away. Because once you understand what Neville Goddard taught, you realize that the only distance between you and what you want is the belief that there's a distance. Everything you seek is already here in potential. And the moment you change your state, you step into alignment with that potential. This means that the outer world does not have to shift first. You shift first. You lead the way by feeling it real, by closing your eyes and moving into the assumption that it is already yours, that you are already living the life you want. And when you do this consistently, something begins to happen. The inner world becomes more real than the outer. You start to feel calm even when circumstances are the same. You start to feel confident even when you have no proof. You start to feel chosen, loved, abundant, and successful before any of it has physically arrived. And that is the magic. Because in the world of imagination, which is the foundation of reality, it has already arrived. Your time is already here. The moment you decided, the moment you assumed, the moment you claimed it. You must remember that imagination is not wishful thinking. It is the blueprint of reality. It is the original creation. It is where everything begins. And if you treat your imagination with reverence, if you honor the visions that come to you with feeling, with gratitude, with certainty, then you're doing exactly what Neville taught. You are acting from the end. You are planting seeds in the unseen that must grow into form. And the only thing that can stop those seeds from growing is doubt. Doubt is the poison, but faith is the fertilizer. So water your dreams with faith. Feed them with repetition. Speak them aloud. Write them down. Lie from them. This is how you act as if your time is coming. Not by trying to force the world to change, but by being the change. By becoming the version of you that has already received, that walks through life with grace, that holds their head high, that no longer chases but attracts, because they know that what is theirs is already on its way. And because of that knowing, They move through life with a new frequency, a new power, a new peace. That peace is what tells the universe they are ready. That power is what shapes their new reality. And that frequency is what magnetizes every desire into their world. Not because they begged, but because they believed. There comes a time when you must stop looking outside of yourself for confirmation and start realizing that the only true confirmation you will ever need is the feeling within. Neville Goddard taught that the feeling is the secret. That means it is not what others say. It is not what the current situation looks like. It is not even what logic tries to convince you is possible. It is the feeling that you allow yourself to live in. The feeling that says, I already have it. The feeling that says, my time is now. The feeling that says, this is already mine. And when you live in that feeling long enough, your outer world will have no choice but to reflect it. It is not magic. It is law. And the law is always working, whether you know it or not. You're always creating, either by default or by design. And when you act as if your time is coming, you become a deliberate creator. You stop living in reaction, and you start living in intention. You stop letting circumstances rule your emotions, and you begin to rule your state. And the most powerful thing about this is that it is something only you can do. No one else can decide how you feel. No one else can choose the thoughts you repeat. No one else can select the assumptions you live by. That is your power. And the moment you claim it, the game changes. You are no longer a victim, because that version of you already exists. It is waiting for you to step into it. Not with force, but with faith. Not with striving, but with surrender. Not with worry, but with knowing. That kind of knowing creates miracles. That kind of knowing moves mountains. That kind of knowing bends reality. Because the world always conforms to your dominant assumption. And when your dominant assumption becomes that your time is coming, then it must come. Not maybe, not someday, but inevitably. And all you must do is hold the state. Live the assumption, breathe the feeling, and refuse to let doubt pull you back into the old story. Because you are not your past. You are not your mistakes. You are not your circumstances. You are what you imagine. You are what you assume. And when you assume that life is working in your favor, then life begins to rearrange itself to match your belief. That is the real power you have. That is how you act as if your time is coming. When you start to live as if your time is coming, you begin to carry yourself with a new level of peace. You no longer wake up anxious about the how or the when. You no longer need constant signs to keep your faith alive, because you have chosen to believe that it is already done. You have chosen to trust that the unseen world is just as real as the world you can touch. This is the essence of Neville Goddard's teaching. The idea that reality begins in consciousness. That nothing happens outside of you that is not first accepted within. So if you truly accept that your time is coming, you stop entertaining timelines that are filled with struggle. You stop telling the story of lack. You stop repeating the narrative that says you have to work harder or suffer longer to deserve what you want. Instead, you start telling a new story. A story where things work out for you. A story where your dreams are valid. A story where you are already chosen. And as you persist in that story, you start to see small shifts. Your mood improves. Your decisions become more aligned. The people around you notice the difference in your energy. Not because you are faking anything, but because you are finally walking in the direction of who you really are. And who you really are is not someone waiting to be rescued. Who you really are is not someone hoping for a break. Who you really are is the creator, the one who decides, the one who imagines, the one who brings the future into the now by living in the assumption that it is already here. And when that becomes your natural state, you begin to live differently. You stop comparing yourself to others. You stop rushing the process. You stop asking when it will happen, because now you know that it is happening, even if you cannot see it yet, even if the outer world has not caught up. You walk like it is already yours. You speak like it is already done. You make choices like someone who trusts their vision. And the more you do this, the more aligned your life becomes. Opportunities find you. People show up to support you. Things begin to fall into place. Not by accident, but by alignment. Because you finally understood that the world does not respond to your desires. It responds to your state. And your state is shaped by your assumptions. So when you assume that your time is coming, that assumption becomes your emotional home. It becomes your inner foundation. And from that foundation, everything else is built. You are no longer trying to manifest from lack. You are manifesting from fullness. You are not trying to escape your life. You are creating a new one, from the inside out, from imagination to form. And that is the only real way anything ever changes.